Hello to everyone on the webinar. We'll give it just 2 more minutes to allow everyone else to trickle in, and then we'll begin our webinar. Thank you. All right. Welcome, everyone, and thanks for being here. My name is Joshua Gutierrez. I'm a director here at NetReputation. I have nearly a decade of experience in the online reputation space, and today we'll be talking specifically about review management. The review economy is here, and are you keeping up? We are recording this session and we'll include the on-demand replay in the email that we send out to all of you tomorrow. So over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to walk you through the data that should be shaping how you think about your business's online reputation, not 6 months from now, not next year, but right now. We're going to cover a lot of ground. I'll be referencing several recent industry studies, including Bird Eye State of Online Reviews report, as well as Bright Local's 2026 Local Consumer Review Survey, which was published actually just last month. We'll also be touching on some of the important regulatory developments from the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. The goal today is simple. Give you the clearest possible picture of where the review landscape stands in 2026 and what it means for your business. So let's actually start with the question. When was the last time you made a major purchase without reading a single review? So think about it. A restaurant, maybe a contractor, a doctor, a hotel, a new piece of software for your business. When was the last time you just went in blind? For most of us, the answer is we can't remember because that's not how we make decisions anymore, right? That's not how your customers make decisions anymore. And the data backs this up in a way that might even surprise you. This was from some of our marketing material. So Bright Local's 2026 survey, again published just last month, found that 41% of consumers now say they always read reviews when looking for a business. That's up from 29% just 1 year ago. Let that register. That's not a gradual shift. That's a 12-point jump in a single year. Consumers aren't casually glancing at your reviews, they're treating them as required reading before they spend a single dollar with you. And here's what they're looking for when they get there. 31% of consumers now say they will only use a business rated 4.5 stars or higher. That's nearly double what it was last year when that number was 17%. So if you expand that out, right, 68%, more than two-thirds of consumers require at least a four-star rating before they'll even consider you. So think about what that means practically. A business, maybe yours, that's sitting at a 4.2 stars that was perfectly fine just a year ago. Today, it's potentially losing customers to that 4.6 star consumer across town. Not because the services have changed at all, but because the expectations have changed. And it's not just that consumers are reading more reviews, they're writing more of them than ever. So, once again, talking about Bird Eye State of Online Reviews report, which analyzed data from over 150,000 businesses, it found that the total review volume grew 13% in 2024. That's significant. So here's why the numbers matter in context. We can see the graph that's on the screen right now. After the post pandemic surge in 2021, when growth hit 18%, things cooled off and they cooled off significantly. Review growth was then flat at about 5% for 2 straight years. A lot of people within the industry assumed that this was the new normal. But then what happened? 2024, as you can see there, 13% growth, a massive re acceleration. And every single one of those new reviews is shaping someone else's decision about whether to choose your business or the one that's next to you. We're sitting here now in March 2026, and this momentum hasn't slowed down. If anything, it is significantly compounded. So consumers are reading more reviews, writing more reviews, and holding businesses to higher standards than ever before. But the next question is, where is all this feedback actually landing? 81%. That's a big stat here. 81%. That's the share of all online reviews that now live on Google. For 4 out of every 5 reviews, again, 4 out of every 5 reviews happen on a single platform. And this number keeps climbing. So in comparison, it was 68% in 2020, but today it's at about 81%, and that continues to grow. Why? Because Google has built an ecosystem where reviews are baked into your search results, Google Maps, and local discovery. When someone searches for a business like yours, the reviews are right there, front and center, before they ever even visit your website. So if you think about it, your business profile, your Google business profile isn't just a listing, it's your online storefront. It's your first impression. And for a growing number of consumers, it's the only impression that matters. We did want to give you some statistics to break it down a little further. Google's dominance isn't uniform across every industry, and this is important to note. Retail definitely leads it at 90%. Nearly every retail review happens on Google. Automotive is at 87%, beauty and wellness at about 84. Most industries generally cluster around the 77 to 87% range. The outlier here is finance, though, which is at 64%, not captured there. Consumers in financial services spread their research across specific platforms like Credit Karma, Lending Tree, and Trustpilot, which is important to note. But even at 64%, Google is still the single largest review platform for finance by a wide margin. For most of the businesses on this webinar, the takeaway is pretty straightforward, right? Google is where the conversation is happening. If you're not actively managing your presence there, you're not really managing your reputation. Now, we don't want to leave you an impression that nothing else matters because it absolutely does. So, data has found that the average consumer now uses 6 different review sites when researching a business. That's six different ones, not just the ones that you see here, but 6 different review sites. So, while Google is absolutely the foundation, industry specific platforms still carry significant weight. So we're talking about health grades for healthcare, Dealer Rater for automotive, Booking.com, and TripAdvisor for hospitality, and sites like Zillow for real estate. A complete review strategy, which I know all of you are thinking about, covers Google as the priority, but it doesn't stop there. So again, customers are leaving more reviews than ever, businesses fighting harder than ever to get them. So let's go back to this side. The consumer side of the equation is very clear. More reviews, higher standards and expectations, concentrated on Google, but spread across multiple platforms, as we've talked about. But now let's talk about the other side. What businesses are doing to keep up, because this is really where the arms race is happening. This is an important slide here. Businesses. So businesses such as yourself, increased their review requests by 25% in 2024, according to Bird Eye's 2025 study. That number probably has significantly grown since then. 25% in a single year. That tells you something very important. Businesses have gotten the message. They know that a strong review presence directly impacts credibility, local search visibility, and customer trust. So they're asking for feedback more aggressively than ever. And if your competitors are ramping up their review generation efforts and you're not, that gap honestly shows up fairly fast. It shows up in your star rating, which we talked about previously. It shows up in your review count. And honestly, it even shows up in where you rank on Google Maps. So let's talk about the how. When it comes to how businesses are asking, the split looks something like this. 60% of review requests go out via email and 40% via SMS or text message. Email here is definitely the workhorse. Why? Because it's cost effective, it's easy to automate, and it supports branding and personalization very easily. But when we're talking about engagement, SMS still wins. So SMS or text message review requests see a 38% engagement rate compared to 27% for that of email. So when someone gets a text message, they're more likely to act on it. So the smart play here for all of you is to use both channels strategically. However, there is a catch. So consumers are getting even more cautious about clicking any links in text messages. I know myself and some of us on this call are the same way. It still does get the attention faster than email, but it means you can't just blast a generic text and expect results. Timing, personalization, and trust signals matter more than ever. All right, we've been talking a lot. Let's pause for a bit of reflection here. Another question on the screen. How many times does your business follow up before a customer leaves a review? Pause for a moment and really think about that. Be honest with yourself. Is it once? Is it twice? Is there a system at all? Or is it more of a we send an email and hope for the best situation? Here's what the data tells us. The average number of reminder emails businesses send increased by 9% in 2024. Again, a big number, 9%. One ask just isn't enough anymore. Customers are more selective about when they leave their feedback. Inboxes and notifications are more crowded than ever. And in industries such as finance, real estate, and beauty and wellness, where the services are complex and deeply personal, customers often need time to evaluate their experience before they're ready to even write about it. Those industries actually send more reminder emails than initial requests. That's how much persistence it takes. And here's the reality: if you're managing this manually, tracking who got asked, who responded, when to follow up, it honestly just doesn't scale. This is exactly where automation and smart systems become essential. Not to spam people, but to make sure the right messages reaches the right customers at the right time. All right. This is a very important one that we want to share with you all today because it's recent news. And while we talk about how businesses like yourselves are collecting reviews, there's something every business owner and marketing leader needs to absolutely have on their radar. So in December 2025, just a few months ago, the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, issued warning letters to 10 companies for potential violations of its consumer review rule. This rule took full effect in October of 2024, and it prohibits a range of deceptive practices related to online reviews, right? We're talking about things like buying fake reviews, incentivizing only positive reviews, for example, offering a discount specifically for 5-star ratings, suppressing negative feedback, and failing to disclose insider relationships when employees or executives post reviews themselves. This is the big one. The penalties: up to 53,000 per violation. Again, per violation. And the FTC has made it clear this is just the beginning of active enforcement. So the message from the federal government here is unambiguous, right? How you collect and manage your reviews isn't just marketing decisions anymore. It's a compliance issue. You need to be doing this the right way, and you need to be able to prove it. All right. So the landscape for collecting reviews, again, as we've talked about, has gotten more competitive, more complex, and more regulated, all at the same time. But here's what a lot of businesses miss. What you do after the review comes in is just as important as how you got it. And that brings us to the response side of the equation. Responding is the new standard, and we mean that. In 2024, 73% of reviews received a response from the business. That might be the single most dramatic shift in the entire report that we reviewed. In 2020, that number was just 23%. Fewer than 1 in 4 reviews got any sort of acknowledgement. Today, it's nearly 3 out of 4. Businesses have figured out that responding to reviews, both positive and negative, builds trust. It improves local SEO rankings and creates a feedback loop that encourages more customers to share their experiences. When people see that a business actively engages with its reviewers, they're more likely to leave a review themselves because they know their voice will be heard. But a big thing to talk about, it's not just about responding, it's about the speed. And consumers aren't just noticing whether you respond, they're paying attention to how fast you respond. Bright Local's 2026 data found that 19% of consumers now expect a response to their review on the same day they post it. That number tripled from last year. 81% expect to hear back within a week. So let's reflect and take a step back. Think about what this means operationally for our teams and for our businesses. If you're checking your reviews once a month or even once a week, you're already behind what a growing segment of your customers expect, right? Speed has become a significant trust signal in itself. Again, speed itself has become a trust signal. So I want one last reflection for all of us here. And this is a really important one to think about. If a customer walked into your brick and mortar business and said, "Hey, I had a great experience, just wanted to let you know," would you just stare at them and say nothing? Of course not. What would you do? You'd thank them. You'd tell them you appreciate it. You'd probably ask them to come back and to tell all of their friends. And if someone walked in with a complaint, you'd absolutely listen. You'd try to make it right. You'd show them that you care about their experience. An online review is that exact same conversation. The only difference is that it's happening in public, where every future customer can see how you handle it. And yet, even with the improvements we've seen, 27% of reviews still go completely unanswered in 2026. In 2026, silence is a strategy of sorts. It's just not really a good one. All right. So we'll talk about quality in the reviews we're receiving. Here's some genuinely good news in all of this. The quality of reviews is getting better. In 2024, 81% of reviews included written comments, up from 79% the year before and 72% back in 2020. That makes sense. So a star rating, and according to like broader consumer research, 88% of consumers say that reviews with written text are more trustworthy than a star rating alone, right? We're talking about star ratings, and that makes sense. A star rating tells you something, but if you truly dive into it, a written comment tells you everything. What worked, what didn't, what customers actually cared about. For businesses, those comments are actionable intelligence. And let me say that again, actionable intelligence. It's not just the complaint, it's not just the compliment. They tell you where you're succeeding, where you're falling short, and what customers value most. And for prospective customers reading those reviews, the detail is what builds or breaks their confidence in choosing you. But there's another side of the quality conversation, and it's one worth addressing directly. 67% of consumers now say fake reviews are a major problem. And I'm sure we all know this. If we've shopped on different online platforms, some of the reviews make absolutely no sense. And 82% report that they've encountered what they believe to be fake reviews in the past years. I'm sure all of us on this call can attest to that same thing. Consumers are getting savvier, right? They're looking for authenticity. They're suspicious of businesses with nothing but perfect five-star ratings and no substance behind them. In fact, research shows that 82% of shoppers actively seek out negative reviews. Again, they are seeking out negative reviews to judge a business's credibility because a perfect score often feels too good to be true. As the saying goes, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. This is also another reason the FTC is cracking down. And it's another reason your review strategy needs to be built on real engagement, not shortcuts, not incentivized five-star ratings, and certainly not fabricating any feedback. The businesses that will thrive are the ones that earn their reviews honestly and respond to all of them, good and bad, transparently. The bottom line on quality, the feedback customers are giving you right now is richer, more detailed, and more useful than it's ever been. But that only works in your favor if you're set up to capture it authentically, respond to it thoroughly, and learn from it consistently. Businesses that manage reviews proactively gain higher trust, more conversions, better search visibility, and stronger brand reputation. So, one last big thought and question to leave you all with. I know we're running up against time. Where do you stand? Where does your business stand? Are you proactively generating reviews for your customers? Are you present on the platforms that matter most for your industry? Are you responding consistently and fast enough to meet rising expectations? Are you doing it all in a way that's compliant with federal regulations? If the answer to any of those is not really, or I'm not sure, you're definitely not alone. Most businesses are in the same position, but the gap between the businesses that figure out this and the ones that don't is getting wider every single month. The review economy isn't coming, it's here. And the businesses that are winning are the ones that have built systems, not just habits, around reputation management. So, again, businesses that are winning are the ones that have built systems, not just habits around review management. So that's where we come in, right? Just really quickly at NetReputation, this is what we do every single day. We help businesses build a complete review management system from generating authentic reviews across platforms that matter most for your industry to responding with the right blend of automation and personal engagement. Again, we help with the response as well as to monitoring and protecting your online reputation around the clock. We work with businesses across healthcare, home services, legal, finance, hospitality, retail, real estate, you name it, right? Everything we do is built on compliance, authenticity, and most of all for you, results. If anything in today's presentation made you think we need to be doing more, I'd love to have that conversation. We're offering a free consultation to anyone on this webinar. You can see the QR code there and you can scan it. We'll also be providing some contact information as well as an ability to schedule time in the email that we'll send tomorrow. Please take us up on it. Let us take a look at where your review presence stands today and show exactly what a smarter strategy could look like. Thank you everyone for your time. I appreciate you being here. I know that we only have 30 minutes, so there was a question that was brought to my attention that we want to answer for you all, and it's surrounding AI, which is important. The question was consumers are now using ChatGPT for recommendations, yes, and other LLMs. How do online reviews factor into what AI tells people about my business? Let me quickly answer this one. Um, so this is one of the most important shifts that's happening like right now, and most businesses aren't even thinking about it yet. When someone asks ChatGPT or maybe Google AI, which we're all very familiar with when we search, what's a good dentist near me or maybe best Italian restaurant in my city? Those tools are actually pulling from publicly available data. So your online reviews are a huge part of that. The sentiment, the volume, recency, even the themes of your reviews, all of that gets ingested and it shapes how the AI models perceive and recommend your business. So your reviews aren't just read by humans on Google anymore. They're actually being read by machines that are forming opinions and are servicing those opinions to consumers. So if your review profile is maybe thin or outdated or skewed negative, that's what the AI sees also, and that's what it tells people. So the practical takeaway very quickly is that everything we've talked about today, so from generating consistent and authentic reviews, responding actively, maintaining a strong presence on Google as well, now has a second layer of importance, right? You're not just managing your reputation for consumers searching today, you're building that data set that AI models will use to recommend or not recommend. Um, it's a whole new reason to take your review management seriously. We actually, one of the things that we do here is we have the ability to see what AI models are saying about you, and we summarize that so that you can see what is being said about your brand specifically. Let me get to one more. I like this one. Yes, in the last minute I have, realistically, if we're starting from scratch on review management, no system, no process, what's the first thing we should do this week? So if I could only tell you one thing to do this week, it would be this: go respond to your last 10 reviews, like right now, today. I know it sounds simple, but it does two things immediately, right? First, it shows every prospective customer who looks you up that you're active, engaged business. Second, it creates a habit. Once you see how straightforward it is to acknowledge a review, even a short thank you, we appreciate your feedback, the next step becomes a lot less intimidating, right? After that, the next priority is to set up consistent review request process. So pick a channel, whether email or text, or get something in place in order to manage that. Again, we can help you with setting up some of those tools. We can speak to it in a consultation or a review. We would love to have those conversations with you. So again, if you're interested, QR code is on the screen. Contact information will be sent in an email. I would love to have more conversations to help your businesses continue to thrive and continue to grow. Sorry we couldn't get to all the questions. We appreciate everyone's time. We look forward to hearing from you and to having more conversations. Have a wonderful day.